I think Rory McIlroy said it best. He's like, listen, when you're out at the Ryder Cup, you should be rooting for your team and supporting your team, not so much, jeering at the other team. And I just think that's so right. That's not golf. That's not what this is about. I don't mind the odd boo, you suck, as they call out, the name on the first tee, but you're not supposed to, you're just berating somebody and like hurling very personal insults at someone while they're trying to play golf. When Shane Lowry was interviewed at the end, they said, what is it going to be like to play the Ryder Cup at Adair Manor a couple of years? And he's like, a lot nicer than here.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to one of the most significant golf broadcasters on the planet, Hally Leadbetter. Very nice to see you straight out of the Ryder Cup. What an incredible weekend. What a beautiful job you have, and what a beautiful job you do. Thanks for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you? Yeah, honestly, my head is still spinning a bit from what happened over the weekend, just trying to come back down to earth here. But what an event that was. It was really, it looked like Europe was just gonna, I didn't even know if the last group was gonna be able to tee off on Sunday. It might have been that, just such a wash. But the Americans, you got to hand it to them. They just came back and played so well, and really made it exciting for the people out at Bethpage and everybody at home.
A lot of people talking about it. How significant is the Ryder Cup, this specific tournament, and just this tournament in general for the sport of golf?
Oh, it's everything. I think you hear it when the players are speaking. Shane Lowry is like, listen, I won the Open in my home country. And even this goes beyond that for him in terms of meaning. So it's so different. It's such a unique event. As golfers, you don't really get to experience that team environment. Maybe you do as a European a little bit more. A lot of those guys, the English players, the Spanish players, which we didn't have any this time around, but did we have any Spanish players this time around? I gotta check the European board, but
I need to check off the top of my head now.
Yeah, I don't think we did. But regardless, the Europeans, they really, they get a bit of the team environment growing up. They do play foursomes, they do play four ball, and the Americans don't really do that. So for them, it's a special opportunity because they don't really have that team experience. And for the Europeans, that bond that they all have, we saw that embrace, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, that emotion that they had. So the emotion that you feel when you win something as a team is just so unique. And in golf, we don't have that very often, only every 2 years. So it's really, really incredible to see. And I think is what makes the sport really, the Ryder Cup really transcend golf and go beyond.
Being there in the mixer, what was that like as it is part of your job? What was your favorite moment?
Oh man, my favorite moment. Honestly, I think I ended up flying home Sunday at the crack of dawn because I had been there since the Sunday previously. So I was like, all right, I'm going to fly home Sunday. I'm going to watch it from my couch. And I think it was honestly when watching Shane Lowry hold that putt and just, it's just the overall emotion that these guys feel and how excited they are. I loved that moment. And honestly, I loved the European celebration on the bus. I loved the songs that they were singing, like when they were singing the Zombie and saying Rory instead of Zombie for the Cranberries. And I just love how much it means to them. I think that it's difficult to think about, okay, what can the Americans do to actually have a shot at this thing? And it really is like 1,000 little things that make all the difference. You hear Luke Donald talk about the amount of effort that he puts in just to making his players comfortable, everything from changing the sheets on the bed to the shampoo to have it be a better scent. Just think, you can tell it just means so much to him as well. And obviously it means so much to Keegan Bradley. But was he the right captain for this time around? We don't, it's really difficult with him being in the thick of it in terms of his playing career. And that's what's so incredible about the game of golf, is that you hit forms at different times. I mean, you don't see that in tennis. You're not going to have a guy in his mid 40s just all of a sudden start, winning some of the biggest events, but that does happen in golf. And so I think Keegan was put in a really difficult position. And it was hard. It was really, really hard for him to balance all these duties, especially when he's playing so well and arguably playing some of the best golf of his life.
I saw an interesting reel from an American fan who said he hates to say it, but the Europe team had more characters, more interesting players.
Yeah.
For
sure. For sure. I mean, listen, I love all those guys out there. They're all fantastic to work with. I could see, and to be fair, they are all interesting when you're up close, right? When you're up close and you're speaking with them, they're all very kind and, in general, a pleasure to work with. But in terms of people that have like personality that you can see as they're playing, Europe by far and away has that in spades. I mean, you look at the Tommy Fleetwoods, the Rorys, the Tyrrell Hattons, and the Americans, the Patrick Cantlays, the Scotty Schefflers. They're a little bit more just like cool, calm, and collected. They don't show a lot of emotion on the golf course. So I completely agree with that sentiment from a fan and a viewership perspective in terms of characters while they're actually playing. Definitely more on the European side for sure.
A lot of talk about the fans. Did they take it too far? What was it like for you on the ground?
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think Rory McIlroy said it best a couple days ago, where he's like, listen, when you're out at the Ryder Cup, you should be rooting for your team and supporting your team, not so much, jeering at the other team. And I just think that's so right. That's not golf. That's not what this is about. This isn't hockey. This isn't football. This is meant to be a game of respect. And listen, I don't mind the odd boo, you suck, as they call out, the name on the first tee, but you're not supposed to, you're just berating somebody and like hurling very personal insults at someone while they're trying to play golf is just so uncalled for. And I think a lot of people were like, well, what did you expect? It's it's New York. That's the type of fans they are up there. And for sure. Okay. But at the same time, this is golf, and that's not what we do in this game. So I definitely think that, I think when Shane Lowry was interviewed at the end, they said, what is it going to be like to play the Ryder Cup at Adair Manor a couple of years? And he's like, a lot nicer than here, which for sure, that's always the case, right? Like, that's why winning an away Ryder Cup makes it so challenging, is one, the course setup that the captains can, the home captains can sort of set up to their team's advantage. But as well, it's that atmosphere. It's the bright red that you're seeing everywhere, that that you're in that, you're there in that sort of not in your territory. So yes, the atmosphere should make it much more difficult, but not like squeaking rubber ducks in people's backswings. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, I thought that was a little uncalled for sure.
A lot of it's been heavily publicized, right? But being in the thick of the action, was there any moment or anything said just broadly that stuck out to you, that left an impression on you over the weekend?
In terms of like what the fans were saying?
Oh, no, just generally at the tournament.
Let's see. I think it was interesting, in Keegan Bradley's press conference when he talked about that he made a mistake with the setup. I think that, yes, I think that was the case, but he's got a lot on his plate, right? And I think that there were a lot of comments about the golf course, how soft it was, how the rough was cut down, and how Bethpage Black just didn't have its teeth. And so I thought that was really, really interesting. Because listen, they're all playing the same golf course. It's not like it was easy. It's not like it was like, oh, we'll set it up easier for the European. Like it was all the same golf course. But that really stuck with me, how the golf course was set up and how that may have played a big factor in the outcome of this Ryder Cup.
Do you think recently we've seen a rejuvenated interest in the sport? Because we've seen the rise of the TGL, and a lot of sports are talking about appealing to younger fans. But do you think younger fans are still interested in golf in the classic sense?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's really different how, we can look to COVID almost to be this turning point for golf. At the time, the really thing that you could only do safely was get out and play golf. And so a lot of people that maybe hadn't played in the past were looking to it. And at the time, professional golf had come to a stop. So I think it allowed people to really connect with the game on their own and, go out and play in the evenings when they were done, sitting at their home office for the day. And that in itself has really injected new life into golf. I mean, right now, the largest growing demographic of golfers is young women for the first time ever. So we're seeing a lot of people that have come to the game on their own, have taken a personal interest in it. And I do think that translates to taking an interest in professional golf, because you actually have an appreciation for it in the same way that, I liken it to, I never really appreciated a good guitar player until I attempted to take a guitar lesson. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is really hard. So now, whether it's I'm at a concert or I seek out people that are really, really good at that, because I have a genuine appreciation for how difficult it is. And so I think that same thing does happen with golf. Men, women, really anybody that really thought it was boring to watch maybe took it up in the last couple of years and do have an appreciation for the sport. And that is turning into more viewership for the professional game. It's also turning into more viewership to things like the creator golf. I mean, you look at YouTube, the Good, the Bob Does Sports. Golf it's really interesting. And there are creators in other sports, but nothing like the creator economy in the golf space. I mean, you don't have to be a professional golfer to be interesting to watch playing golf, which I don't necessarily think it would equate. You don't have the equivalent of Bob Does Sports for tennis, because there's no time to really talk or get like personality out, in a tennis match, or like yell over the net a question. But it is really interesting to see how, COVID, which gave people the time, and then the creator economy taking off has really just injected new life into the game. And I do think that we are going to see, and we have seen a larger interest in the professional game as well because of those things.
How important has Bryson been with just being such a star, such a talent, but with his content as well, being an access point for young people to discover and fall in love with the sport?
Yeah, he's been huge. I remember I was at the PGA Championship. I didn't get a chance to watch him, interact with the fans too much at the Ryder Cup, but I do remember a specific moment at the PGA Championship. I mean, you would have thought he was One Direction, the way that these, kids were acting. It was just insane, screaming at him like he's a rock star, because they are such huge fans of his YouTube content. And so he's been massive for the growth of YouTube golf, just for the growth of the game in general. I think, and like, good on him for taking that, for taking that on and feeling a responsibility to do so, because he definitely doesn't have to do that. Even you look at other golfers. I was speaking with someone the other day. They're like, why don't other golfers do what Bryson does? I'm like, well, because it's not appealing to them. I mean, it's a whole other job. It's a whole other business that you have to focus on. And he's has an incredible team of shooters and editors and social media managers that can manage his platforms, but he himself is the one that is calling the shot. So it's a whole other job that he's taking on while trying to play his best golf. And I think it's really, I'm really glad that he's doing that, because again, he certainly doesn't have to from a success standpoint or a financial standpoint. I would have to imagine he's doing just fine. So it's really cool that he feels the need to do that and sort of pay it forward through YouTube.
I saw your video in defense of Happy Gilmore too. So on that note, who is your favorite cameo, and which player low key is amazing on camera and should be on camera more?
Ooh, that's a great question. Well, my favorite, I thought Bad Bunny was hilarious. I want more Bad Bunny golf. Oh, and Marcelo Hernandez, who did some Ryder Cup coverage as well this week. So I loved that. But in terms of players that I'd love to see more, definitely Will Zalatoris. I mean, he was incredible. I often wonder, like, if you weren't a golf fan and you didn't know who Will Zalatoris was, like, would you genuinely have thought that was like the same guy from who was the caddy in Happy Gilmore 1? Because he was awesome. I thought he was so great. So would love to see some more Willie Z in various golf Hollywood projects going forward.
Who's your favorite interview in the sport? Who's the most charismatic or funniest or just always gives a good interview?
Oh, Rory, for sure. I mean, I'd say Rory or Max Homa. They're just like really wonderful people. You just feel like, they ask you about your family, and they just feel like they're very, very genuine. And that's not to say that the other guys aren't, but these guys are just extra genuine and very, very kind, and always go out of their way to say hello. So I'd say those are probably my two favorites to interact with.
I'm loving your content. You've got such a range and you seem to love doing it. What's your favorite kind of content to make?
Oh, that's a great question. I really enjoy, interviewing celebrities. I think I find it so fascinating, whether they're a top athlete or an actor or a comedian. I love hearing what golf does for them, and sort of their journey getting into it. I mean, I remember I got to interview Sebastian Maniscalco, the comedian, and I asked him, like, what does golf do for you? And he's like, I play golf so I don't rot in a hotel room all day. I'm like, fair point. And then you hear from other, potentially, like, let's see, a retired athlete talk about how for them, it allows them to get that competitive feeling, or, start from the ground up. They're used to just, completely having mastery of their thing. And now they get to feel like a beginner again and sort of climb that mountain. So I'd say I really enjoy, interviewing people that are, who accomplished so much in their lives and what golf does for them, and learn about their relationship with golf. And then I also enjoy doing, just sketches. I have a golf like specific production company, and we work with a lot of brands on their commercials, but we also have a bit of fun where we cast our friends here in LA, and get a bunch of like, very like cinematographers that really have no business making social media videos, but enjoy golf. So we get them all together and we write some funny stuff with stand-up comedians. And I really enjoy, writing and producing these sketches that we put out.
You've got your podcast as well, Michelle Wee, Golf Mostly. Such a good name, by the way. How proud are you of that? And what's the best moment so far for you?
Yeah, so we actually are not doing the podcast anymore. Michelle now lives in Las Vegas, and she has, she's growing her family, and I've been busy with a bunch of other stuff. But it was actually nice. We got to spend some time together at the Ryder Cup. But I'd say that was such a fun project to work on with her, because she, has always been like an older sister to me, and definitely a role model for me. So, and this was kind of at the time where she had retired from golf, and I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with her, and she talked about things that she hadn't talked about in the past, the pressures of playing on the LPGA from such a young age, and just what it was like out there, how she composed herself in large moments. And so to be able to have that time with her and be able to help, facilitate telling her story a little bit was really, really special.
You spoke about the sport trending younger earlier. I think Nelly Korda said she feels like a grandma on tour sometimes, which is wild. She's like 27. But there are so many exciting young talents coming through. Who is your biggest one to watch right now?
Ooh, that's a really great question. Biggest one to watch, just in general, like men's or women's golf?
In the LPGA.
Oh, on the LPGA, sorry. Let's see. Probably Lottie Woad. I mean, she's just coming off a win, having, the Augusta National Women's Amateur champion. I think she's going to be just absolutely a world beater. So I would say definitely keep an eye on Lottie Woad going forward on the LPGA. She's just incredible. I mean, talk about composure and athleticism. She is an absolute superstar.
It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, but now across all sport, not just golf, it is important to be able to promote what you do and who you are, right? How significant is that right now in golf, that players are able to showcase who they are online, especially from someone who does it so well?
Yeah, it's huge. It's you look back to, I don't know, let's say before Instagram, TikTok existed, players told their stories via largely print publications, and as well as maybe digital publications as well. But for them to be able to have their own outlets and be able to tell their stories directly and build fandom, I think, again, going back to saying, okay, sure, I still believe there's value in doing a sit down interview with a Golf Digest and being on the cover of Golf Digest. That's never going to not be great for your brand. However, consistently putting out content on your own channels, giving your fans a peek behind the scenes into what your training looks like, into how you're getting through difficult moments. Like, there's a huge opportunity to grow your fan base, as well as, and consequently grow your bottom line if you're able to do so via your sponsorships. Because sure, it's all well and good that the brands are getting some TV time with a logo on the chest, but if they're able to collaborate with you on social media content and sit down and talk about why this is a great partnership and do some really cool content that way, that could arguably do even more for your brand. So I think there's a huge opportunity, and players are taking advantage of the the landscape, the way that content can help their brands these days.
100%. We'll wrap up then with a little quick fire. So, men and women, who's the funniest golfer you've met?
Ooh, funniest golfer. I'm gonna go with Megan Kang on the LPGA. She's hilarious.
Best dressed?
Ooh, best dressed. I'm loving Charlie Hull's looks right now. Her Melbourne looks are pretty great.
Who has the most beautiful swing?
Rory, by far.
Who's the most competitive?
Ooh, competitive. Probably John Rahm, I'd say. However, I will say earlier when we were saying, is there anybody Spanish on the team? I don't think so. I'm like, obviously John Rahm's on the team. So he's representing the Spaniards.
I also spaced on this. So
yeah, I was like, wait, that was silly.
With winning it live. Who would always have the best restaurant recommendation?
Ooh, restaurant recommendations. Um, I'm gonna go with Gemma Driver on the LPGA because she has given me some good ones in France. We've had some lovely dinners at the Evian Championship.
Who has the best social media game?
Oh, that's good. Bryson for sure, definitely.
And what is your favorite club in your bag?
Ooh, my favorite club. My 60-degree wedge. I love a little nippy chip.
And for our newsletter readers, one piece of golf advice that has stood the test of time for you.
One piece of golf advice that stood the test of time. Well, I think this is just a piece of golf advice for anybody, especially people that are playing. Like, you have to what's called embrace the suck. Like, you cannot expect to be good at golf for many, many years, and that is completely okay. It breaks my heart when I talk to people and they say, "Oh my gosh, I love golf," and then they kind of look around as if they're embarrassed and go, "But I'm not very good." And I'm like, that is nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, if you're good at golf, it means that you've spent an extraordinary amount of time playing, probably, away from things that you should be focusing on, like your family and your job. So if you're not good at golf, it's completely okay. And please feel free to call yourself a golfer and just embrace the fact that you love it and that you're not very good and it's going to be a long journey. So I'd say that's my biggest piece of advice is just don't be embarrassed at all about where you're at. Just embrace the fact that you love golf and that you're out there to have fun.
I definitely fit into that category, so thank you.
Great. That's totally okay.
This is good advice. It's been lovely speaking to you. Thank you so much, and all the
course.
best on your next adventure.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you down the road.